Okay, and we're picking up here by looking at a couple of dual process models. And this first one is called the elaboration likelihood model. This is Richard Petty's model. So Petty's model, which applied to marketing, goes like this. Just as the name implies, consumers are sometimes likely to think about and elaborate on ads or other persuasive messages, and sometimes not. When they think about or elaborate on it a great deal, they tend to use what Petty calls a central route of processing. Conversely, when consumers' involvement is low, or their ability to think is low because of something else like maybe distraction or time pressure, they are likely to take what Petty calls a peripheral route of processing. So in this case, they focus on peripheral cues, superficial information that makes it easy to form an attitude without much thought. So good examples of peripheral cues are something like an attractive or likable spokesperson, positive mood, or colorful packaging. In short, consumers who take a central route tend to seek the stake, the strong, rational arguments. Those who take a peripheral route of processing seek the sizzle, like packaging colors and images, celebrity endorsements, attractive models, entertaining music, etc. Note that the same cue can be a central or peripheral cue depending on the context, or in this case, the product. For example, an attractive model is a peripheral cue for an automobile ad, but more of a central cue, a little more at least, for a makeup ad. If she is attractive when displaying the retailer's makeup, we can assume that, albeit genetics and photoshopping are playing probably a larger role, it is at least partly because of the makeup. Now remember Daniel Kahneman from our consumer decision-making lecture way at the beginning of this class? We studied what effect from his research. What effect was it? Can you remember? It was the sunk cost effect. Hey, remember, if you've invested time and effort into trying to find the right product, hey, even if you can't quite find all the attributes you're looking for, you probably will still end up buying one because you put all that sunk cost into it and time and effort. Dan is a Nobel laureate psychologist, Daniel Kahneman, who has written many books. And one of my favorite is Fast and Slow Thinking, which is on your recommended reading list on Blackboard for this class. This is also the name of Dan's model. Kahneman's fast and slow thinking model is the second example of a dual processing model that I want you to be familiar with. He describes two systems of thinking. System one is fast and automatic. It relies on intuition and simple heuristics. System two is slower and requires effort. It relies on logic. Kahneman explains that when using System 1, people often can't explain why they make the decisions they do, and sometimes they don't even remember making them. Have you ever gotten up to the cashier and then been surprised by the total bill and some of the items that you put into your cart, perhaps automatically? Psychologists Nisbet and Wilson demonstrated this feature of System 1, or fast thinking, in their classic stocking study. This is such a cool study. So consumers were shown 4 pairs of stockings and asked to feel each and then to choose the pair that they liked best. The 4 stockings were arranged from right to left on the table, with the arrangement randomly shuffled between participants. And the results showed that most consumers showed a preference for whichever pair happened to be placed in the rightmost position. However, when they were asked why, participants were unable to explain it. Most of them said they thought the pair was higher quality, but they couldn't explain why they thought this. Actually, the consumers were tricked. Each one of the stockings were identical. In this case, the experimenters prompted System 1 by presenting a problem that was too difficult to solve using System 2. They all looked and felt the same. So people just used System 1, presumably the recency simple heuristic. Recency, given that people generally studied the stockings from left to right. The far most right one was the most recently experienced. Again, when people make decisions with System 1, fast thinking, they often can't explain why they made the decision, and sometimes they don't even remember making them.